What are you saying, ladies and gents? Yes, we are back again today for episode 10 of the BucketHatSam Talks Ball Podcast, and we have got on the co-host again, the man, the myth, the legend.
Thank you.
Mike. He's back again, and he's actually in a football shirt this week.
What an introduction that is.
I like that. I've been practicing that in the mirror. Introduce your shirt, mate. That's what we're here for. Audio listeners, you won't have a clue what we're on about, but if you head over to YouTube, Mike is wearing a football shirt, and it is a corker.
Vintage Arsenal 93, 94, I think. JVC, just an all-round classic. Got to rate it, surely.
I have to admit, I'm a big rank and rate it. Let's rank and rate it. No, it's a class shirt. I've got to admit it.
I like the AC Milan as well, mate.
I originally had a West Brom shirt on. And we're not going to discuss that tonight because we're recording on a Monday night just after West Brom have lost 2-0. That's all we're discussing. I took it off out of anger. I was like, forget it. It's going to be AC. To be honest, this is a nicer shirt anyway. Yeah. And I think hopefully more people will rate it as well. But there's loads to discuss this week. We've got Leeds sacking Bielsa. We've got Marsh being appointed. We've got Liverpool winning the League Cup. Kepa, simple one word. Everton losing again. VAR controversy. Newcastle, they're staying up. What players could they be going for now in the summer? Now they know they're staying up.
Project Mbappe
begins because they're staying up. And we're stuck with Bruce Ball. Anyway, and then a couple of discussions about the Premier League in the just overall. But yeah, it's going to be a good episode, guys. Let's get right into it then. Start off straight away. Leeds, Bielsa. If I'm honest, I never thought it would happen. I don't know if it's just me. I feel like they built this whole thing around Bielsa, gave him everything he wanted. He's had 3 seasons. It's his longest stint ever as a manager, which is mental.
That's surprising.
I couldn't believe it. I heard it.
But he has been around a lot of clubs, hasn't he?
Yeah, he gets around. I've heard that before. That sounded weird. I didn't mean to say that. That sounded really weird. But no, it is mad. And I worry, is this... I know obviously we can discuss the appointment in a minute. Yeah. Was it the right thing, in your opinion, to have sacked Bielsa?
Obviously, Leeds fans aren't going to think so. And they've come out and said how much they love Bielsa. A lot of fans said they'd rather go down with Bielsa than sacking him, just for that love story that they've had. He got Leeds back to the top flight after 16 years or whatever it was. Great achievement, playing some nice football. But from a business point of view, if you're the owners of Leeds United, there's only one thing that matters to you right now, and that's staying in the Premier League and all the money that entails, the finances, everything. If you go down after just one season back, you could find yourself in a sticky situation yet again where you're struggling to get out of the Championship.
Yeah, it makes sense.
They need to do everything they can to stay in the Premier League, and sadly, that means getting rid of Bielsa.
So, okay, then you dodged the question. You said it from their point of view.
It's the right decision.
See, this is now.
It's absolutely the right decision.
See, now this is where we're gonna our first discussion of the week. Straight in already. I have been discussing this and thinking about it all day from both perspectives. I get what you're saying about the owners, but on a footballing wise, I think what Bielsa was doing, I know obviously we have the discussion of naivety with the way he went against sides, but I also quite liked it. But I don't know if that was because I sit in a neutral camp and I enjoy watching the football, because I think that Man United game we watched last week was one of the best games of football I've seen. It was absolutely mental. And he provided it. It was entertaining.
That's it. It's entertaining, but
which I know is a bad thing. But then I can discuss from a point of view where I've supported a side in West Brom where they've got Pulis to stay in the Premier League, and you get to the stage of, I know it's not going to go to that degree now when they get Marsh and he's very similar, but what is the most important thing at the end of the day? Is it entertaining football or is it results? And I think obviously you're an Arsenal fan. You're in the results. You're at the top of the table where results mean everything, and you're a big club. Whereas I know Leeds were in the past, but right now they're not on the rest of the scale. So I think expressive football is the most important thing, and entertaining football, actually enjoying watching your club. Because at the end of the day, what is the point in watching your team what is the point? It's not fun watching your team every week grinding out 1-0s or 0-0s. It's not entertaining. It's not fun for anyone. You want to see goals. You want to have fun. Spend your Saturday having a good laugh.
I understand all those points.
It's the love for football.
Entertaining, yes, all this. But when you're getting spanked 4-0 and 6-0 game after game and conceding as many goals as they do, common sense has just got to prevail at some point.
I get what you're saying.
He's that naive defensively. He doesn't make game plans for any teams in the Premier League, whereas every other team will make a game plan depending on their opponent.
Do you not think it's quite refreshing?
They don't. It is
refreshing.
And it is entertainment. It's good to watch. It's been great for the Premier League to have Leeds in. Like last season, they were fantastic and just going at teams. But if you've got your sensible hat on, it's not going to work when you're getting battered 6-0, 5-0. But then you're shipping all these goals and you're going to go down.
I know, I get that at the same time. But then surely, if that's the way that all Leeds fans would have felt, they'd have been asking for his head ages ago. But it's the thing is, they love Bielsa. They love everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And I know obviously results have been poor. I read a stat, and this is mental. Bielsa, bearing in mind this is like the worst Man United side in years and decades. It's considered 15 goals in 3 games against them. That on its own deserves a sacking, to be fair.
The defence is just shambolic. Like there is no
injuries
structure.
As well. Injuries haven't helped,
and the squad depth isn't good enough.
The squad depth, they've backed him, but then there were some really odd transfers. Like I think they really overpaid for Dan James. I don't
mind Dan James as a player, but when you look at their defence,
30 million though.
Yeah.
I don't mind him as a player, but he's not worth 30 million.
No.
Have you seen anything from him that's worth 30? Maybe 3. Like 30's a
3 million.
Okay, that might be. I said it and realised as soon as I said, okay, maybe 10.
They should have strengthened in other areas rather than
wingers. When they've got Rafinha, Harrison, Rodrigo. Yeah, they've got, but they don't have a striker than Bamford. And we've seen when he goes, where's the goals coming from? They have to spread it around the rest of the team. Yeah. It's an interesting one. I think it's a shame for football because I've enjoyed watching Leeds and I've been drawn to watching them play. But that's from a neutral's perspective. But then at the end of the day, I want good football.
So Baggies now, you're not getting results. But if it was 6-0, 5-0, would it be? But you're playing nicer football.
Yes. I've just had to sit through 90 minutes of pure line football, lump it up, bump it up, hoof it right up to Andy Carroll, and flick-ons for 90 whole minutes and one shot on target. I would do if it meant we conceded another 4 goals, but we played some nice football tonight. I would take it. I'm at that stage, but this is not about the Baggies. Stop trying to bring it back because I'm going to start crying. I'm hitting breaking point with West Brom, but. Okay, then, Marsh, I'm not going to pretend, and I'm not going to be one of these people online who pretends, because that's something that really bothers me every time. New manager gets appointed, and everyone then becomes, bearing in mind he's managed at Salzburg, everyone then becomes an Austrian football connoisseur. They know everything about it. I'm not going to pretend, but from what I've read and from what I've heard on the radio and on Sky Sports, they've said it's very similar to the Bielsa ball, but he's a little bit more...
It's probably a bit more, well, again... I am completely guessing. I know absolutely nothing about this guy, but with the background he's had at those clubs, it's probably more organised.
Yeah, it's very similar apparently to Rangnick ball, what he's built on, and from what he's done. He did get sacked at Leipzig.
Yeah, after not very long.
It didn't really work out there, but from what it's kind of total ball. It's all about attacking, but he's not naive to not actually like do some defensive planning.
Yeah.
And it's not man-to-man with the defence. It actually looks like he plays with a solid defence. It's going to be very similar, but not as gung-ho. It'll be a bit more assured. But then, as I said, we're not going to pretend we know everything.
Know nothing.
I'm literally going on reports, which I don't even know if these reporters know anything, but like I saw Gabby Abongno was talking about it, and I thought, I'm switching off that article.
It's not a trustworthy source, is he? Gabby Abongno.
Absolutely no chance. Okay, then we'll move on then from... Actually, Leeds, do you think after this sacking... Will Leeds stay up this season?
Yeah, I think they'll have a bit of a bounce. And I think Brentford's squad's a little bit... They've got a bit more quality than Watford and Brentford and Norwich. So I think Leeds will be all right.
You're sticking with them three. To be fair, it's the same as I said last week.
I said Burnley last week, but they're just flying.
Come on, Burnley. I told you. I don't know why they've become my second
Big Weghorst.
Weghorst, I've captained him this week in the FPL. I need him to bag something because he didn't get any points this week.
No.
But no, they look solid. They do, to be honest, defensively especially. But we know that with Burnley. I've told you need to just trust the process.
Trust
Sean
Dyche
knows what he's doing. Knock it long.
But then we've had this conversation about Bielsa and fans, and you saying about you're not enjoying football. There's some Burnley fans that are now this is Burnley who have had no Premier League history whatsoever up until Dyche really. A few seasons, they're moaning about the football, saying it's boring going to Turf Moor every week. So you know what you're going to get, and it's not pretty at all.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I think then it's a slightly different discussion when it comes to Burnley and Leeds, and I mean this in the most respectful way. Leeds have literally just come up, and it's a big ask for them to stay up.
That's why I think
Burnley
it's the right decision to get rid of Bielsa, because you've got to stay up. You can worry about playing your nice stuff after.
Second season syndrome.
Even after that, you've got to stay in the Premier League to secure those finances, to get the players in, to build infrastructure, whatever you want. But you need that money to be able to do so.
I do agree with what you're saying, because then you can fall into the category of falling into like a Swansea or a Stoke or a West Brom or Huddersfield. Cardiff.
There's countless
endless,
names.
Yeah. Well, Huddersfield, they potentially could get promoted. Like Bournemouth and Fulham, that's the thing. Then when you get relegated, do you take that risk when the parachute payments have gone and invest and end up like a Derby, or that? Well, we'll leave out Derby because it's very odd what's going on there at the moment.
Really
it's quite
strange.
questionable. I hope they stay afloat, obviously, but there's nothing. No one really knows what's going on at the moment. Okay, then Liverpool League Cup final. They won it. I wouldn't say they battered Chelsea. Let's be honest.
It was a good game, wasn't it?
Oh,
it was great.
0-0.
It was a really good 0-0.
Would you agree then? It was the best 0-0 I've ever seen.
Oh.
Easily. I absolutely loved it. I was on the edge of my seat.
There has been a few good 0-0s, but
that was
I
the
can't
best.
remember.
In a cup final as well.
Yeah.
The amount of chances, like Mount,
that's poor. That is from Mason Mount.
embarrassing.
Two sitters.
Horrendous. That's the problem with me with Mount. I love him as a player. I think he's great going forward, but he lacks in that final product, and that's why we haven't seen him put up the numbers that we've all expected him to. He never the goals and the assists. He never really breaks huge numbers, but to push on to become those top class, world class players, and that's my only question mark on him. And I saw that in the game throughout yesterday.
The two misses are really bad. Like, you've got to be hitting the target, and I know the one's off the inside of the post, but it hasn't got in. You've got to score from there.
10 minutes.
You're a professional footballer. Like, you're that far out. You've got to bury it.
Yeah, I was disappointed in that, and I think
Pulisic's chance as well. That's a sitter. That is.
Well, he's the American Messi. Have you seen that clip when they're
No,
trying
it's
to
the LeBron James of soccer.
That's the LeBron. Oh, it's too funny, man. And he's another one, which I think he's a great player. He creates a lot, but he just lacks that.
I'm
final
not convinced
product.
by him.
Yeah, he's a good player, but he's that final product every time. And whereas King Kai, I thought Kai Havertz, on the other hand, I've said it and I will say it again. What a performance! Chelsea looked their strongest with him in false nine.
I think he was their best player by a distance.
I could have told you that before the game. He's a great player, a serious baller. No, he's a good player. And what did you make of Lukaku when he came on then?
He looks a bit slow, but I think that's match fitness. But again, like we discussed last week, Chelsea don't play to his advantages at all. So it's always going to be difficult for him to get involved in play. But that one he did put away when he was offside, that's a great finish. Yeah. Which one touch out your feet and he's put it away really nicely. I think, but Chelsea won't play him. I think with match fitness, he could improve and get back, because that's what Chelsea lack. That's what they lacked in that game. It's a goal scorer, and they have all season. Lukaku hasn't been scoring, but if he got match fit, I'd back him. I'd back him to score goals wherever he was.
Yeah, and I know people discussed earlier on in the season it didn't work out, but they've, as we keep going back to, they play to his strengths. I don't get it. It's what you explained last.
And I think there were a few spaces opening up for him because the game was so end to end. Whereas if Chelsea are against a team where they're dominating the ball like a lower half Premier League team, he's not going to have that space. But because it was so end to end, things did open up a bit, and he was able to run down the line a bit, that's what he's good at.
Yeah, run those channels. Yeah, I think he'd be suited to a game like against City or somebody like that with the way he plays. But then, as you say, it's that sharpness. He just seems to be off. But then you can't expect somebody to play 10 minutes here and there and still have it. No. Werner. Is he still a write-off then? Is he still a write-off?
I rated Werner so highly in Germany, and it just hasn't translated at all. No one would have seen how bad he's actually become. He was prolific there, and for the German national team as well, prolific. And now you'd back him not to score in a one-on-one situation.
Yeah,
he never looks like scoring.
And he made that assist for the offside goal. You know, and he did the left foot volley when he passed it across the box. I thought, geez, what a player. And then it was offside. Like, even when he does something good, he's still offside. I swear, him and Lukaku between them must have been offside so many times in that game. It's horrific. But then I think he's really tarnished like the look on the Bundesliga now. As soon as you get a player come, everyone's like, well, is he another team over?
I think there's a few though. It's not just him.
Sancho.
There's a few. Sancho's a big one because Sancho is a massive flop so far. He's started to improve a little bit throughout the season, but in terms of like goals, assists, all that stuff, he's not direct enough. He'll get into nice positions, do a nice sort of step over, but then he'll turn back. I don't think he's.
Oh no, definitely. I completely
he's
agree.
driving into the box enough, trying to get shots off. He doesn't shoot enough.
He's literally not good enough. And I've said it before. I was trying to get up a quote that I'd seen on Twitter that I'd reacted to online, but I can't find it again. I remember it now. Because I feel like you'd enjoy this. But it's got Martinelli involved. So it said, Jadon Sancho should not be compared to Saka, Martinelli and Callum Hudson-Odoi. We need to start discussing that he's on the level of the likes of Mbappe. And this was a United fan.
Oh, I think I did see the tweet, actually. Hudson-Odoi shouldn't be in that conversation, by the way.
No,
we discussed that.
We discussed that last week. He's the most overrated player. No, that's a bold one. I was going to say in the Premier League. I'll stop myself then. I ate my words before I said it. He's not the most overrated player in the Premier League. I find with this Chelsea squad, a lot of the players could do so much better if they were played in different positions. Because Hudson-Odoi, when you play him on the left-hand side, he's only got 1 foot. You're forcing him to come inside. I feel like he'd be way more effective on the right. Play Lukaku up top. But just play players in their actual positions. I don't get it. But yeah, we haven't even discussed Liverpool yet. Obviously, they won the game.
No, yeah.
We've gone through the whole of Chelsea. We've gone through the whole of the Chelsea team. Should we talk about Luis Diaz?
Yeah.
What a player. What are your thoughts? Because I'm obsessed.
He looks really exciting, doesn't he? He's like a proper winger, and he fits into that Liverpool team as a whole, that 11, what they do seamlessly. Like the way he's so direct and quick, the ground he covers. He looks even faster by the way he runs, I think.
Oh yeah, 100%. And he can turn with such pace as well, the way he dribbles.
The no-look passes, he must have done about 6.
No need for it, but I'm all for it.
Just completely unnecessary, but it's fantastic.
I'm all for it as well. Okay then, now, this is the one thing I've been thinking about then. So obviously, Salah and Mane's contracts are both up next summer.
Yeah.
Salah, I think, 100%.
You've got to sign him, haven't you?
Whatever check, I'd be smacking that check on the table and say, whatever you want, Salah, we'll give it you. Mane, I think this hasn't helped Mane in his negotiations because I think Luis Diaz, potentially not in this very moment, but I think Luis Diaz will be a better player than Sadio Mane in that Liverpool squad. In over the course of the years, I don't think it's helped him in his negotiations for a new contract because they've just shown him that we can easily replace you.
Well, I think even before this, and probably the start of this season, before AFCON and all of that, there was a little bit of tension between like Mane and Salah because it was almost like a fight to who's the best, and obviously it is Salah, but Mane must have felt like Klopp and the fans' favourite. Salah, you've seen in their goal celebrations, like they're not particularly like friendly, chummy. Obviously, I'm just reading into what we can see.
You can see it.
It's not like we're in the training ground. They might be best friends. We don't know, but from what we can see, they're not like completely on the same page, like clicky. Yeah, and so then obviously the AFCON, they go to the finals, penalties, all that, and they're both away from the team. Salah comes back early, Mane stays away. Both their contracts are up, and then Mane gets subbed early in this game before extra time, and the reaction says it all, I think.
Yeah.
So I think his tensions are running high. He sees that Salah's the main man, and then all of a sudden there's a fresh new signing who's playing really well in his position.
And then he played up top, didn't he? He played in like the false 9 position. And to be honest, I think Jota's a better player in that position.
And Jota can cover out left as well. Jota can play anywhere across that front 3.
Mane, I don't think it's the ball's in his camp anymore for negotiations. I think it's Liverpool paying what they want.
I think they'll have to probably choose. Obviously, Salah will get whatever he wants, and Liverpool should pay it. Then he might get an offer that's not exactly what he wants, and then he's got to think about his future.
So would you let Mane go or keep him if you had the chance? Or would you try and invest in another winger? If they can sign a player like Luis Diaz level now, would you keep Mane or get another player in?
Personally, I'd keep Mane still because he's what you know, isn't he? He's that culture. He's won things at Liverpool. You know the end product he's going to give you. rather than investing on someone you don't know. Yeah. But I think it's unrealistic that they're going to keep both the amount that they're both going to demand.
Yeah. And then isn't Firmino's contract coming up as well?
Yeah.
Firmino. I don't know. I keep adding an extra just to make it a bit more exotic and tropical. But no, they can't all get new contracts. Salah, Firmino, Mane.
No.
The three of them can't, especially when you're seeing this new crop of players coming through. And Harvey Elliott as well can play up in that front three as well. So there is a new crop of players coming through.
And it is an aging Liverpool team now. Like, this group of players has been together a while, and they've done great, achieved great things. But it is aging. You look at Henderson, even like others. Robertson's not young anymore. Like, they are aging. They're probably due a bit of a refresh. Liverpool.
Definitely. I'm going to hit you with my final question now. Talking about Liverpool, we discussed this Liverpool era and this Liverpool side coming to an end. Klopp's been in charge now for 7 seasons, I think.
Yeah.
3 trophies in 7 seasons. So Premier League, League Cup, Champions League.
Yeah.
Is that successful era for that side?
It is, given where Liverpool were. Yes.
You did well to. Okay, then not where Liverpool were for that side. For everything, when you look at that 11, do you think 3 trophies in 7 seasons is good enough, or do you think they've underachieved for the level?
No, I think they've done well.
Yeah,
to break that Premier League burden is huge for Liverpool. I think that's massive, and they got very close to another one.
I think you just got to
getting
City.
Close isn't a trophy, but that's the thing. If City weren't this dominant force in English football, they probably would have had 3 league titles, and then all of a sudden they're a powerhouse.
Yeah. I was just trying to get you to say something really controversial there. You could see what I was doing. I was lining you up for it. I was passing it across, but you just didn't want it. No, I completely agree. I think
they could get more trophies as well, let's not forget.
Yeah, definitely. They could easily at Champions League.
They could win another Champions League.
It could happen quite easily, but I was thinking about it last night after I looked at... Because I'm not going to lie, personally, I thought they'd have won a lot more than that in this time, because they feel like they've been... Them and City, it feels like them two have been clear.
Yeah.
But I think that... Unless... I think it's a really difficult one. I think potentially in years back to come, if we look back in 10 years' time, and just not thinking about City, thinking, did that Liverpool side...
They could have achieved more.
They probably could have achieved more. But then it's City.
Yeah.
And that's why you've got to remember every time, it's City. Just simple as that. Kepa... Were you happy with it? You couldn't have writ it any better, could you?
As soon as you saw him warming up, you were like, oh, okay, this is an interesting move. What do you think about that as well? Bringing a keeper on, because he's almost a specialist. He didn't go to plan in this one, but obviously it's not something we see in football very often. That sort of like tactical move that goes against. Almost the game.
See, I thought when it happened originally, I thought, okay, now this is a really good psychological move, because it's basically said to Liverpool, you better be worried, because we are literally kitted for this.
Yeah.
We have got a specialist who's ready to come on. And I thought in the moment, okay, do you know what? Fair play, I like it. But then I realised it was Kepa, and I thought about it's Kepa. And
he's got a good record in shootouts. He's got a good record,
but every time I think of Kepa, I think back to that Sarri moment when he was saying, no, don't take me off.
But that's because he wanted to stay on for penalties.
Exactly, and everything takes me back to that moment. And there's something about Kepa that I don't trust. Whether it was the transfer
he's just not good, is he?
And Mendy's he was awesome.
I saw stats on Twitter, though. So this is obviously before the decision's made. Kepa has won Chelsea their past 3 penalty shootouts. So he was in goal.
Before this one.
They won the penalty shootouts. And then penalties scored against. So the percentage for Mendy was like 94. Kepa was 71.
Okay, so it makes sense.
So that's what I quite like this move, like bringing on this keeper, because it's looking at it out of context of the game, like looking at it statistically a bit.
Yeah.
But then obviously it hasn't come to fruition. And what a miss that is.
Yeah, it is horrendous.
For it to go all the way to the keeper. I was sat there watching it with my mates, and I was like, we were all saying, imagine if this gets to the keepers, because we were going, oh, he's missed it. Saw Van Dijk going up and like, oh yeah, he's definitely put this over. But by the time it got to the keepers, we were like, Kepa's going to sky it, isn't he? Like, it's just written that Kepa's going to miss it. It was fantastic. You couldn't have scripted it.
Yeah, the Kelleher penalty. I thought Kelleher, by the way, was awesome.
Yeah,
somebody made me look quite stupid, because I
he's so calm, doesn't he? Just never even like cracks a smile, nothing. He's just so chill.
I thought he was class. But back to the Kepa thing, sorry. Before I just skipped, it was me who moved us on. But I think the problem is when you make a decision like that, if it comes off,
you've got to get it right.
Yeah, if it comes off, everyone's going to say masterclass, tactical masterclass. And if it doesn't come off, hindsight's a brilliant thing and everyone's going to blame Kepa. So no matter what happened, it was a big risk and it didn't pay off this time. But as you said,
it's either idiotic or it's a masterstroke. There's no in between.
I do remember, I think Holland did it back in the Euros when they used to bring on Tim Krul, didn't they?
Yeah.
And that's the only time I've ever seen it other than that. And I remember everyone questioned that back then. But it may be something that we see more often. But
I think you will, as like football advances and we
stats,
get there's people that'll be like employed just to find these little like niches. And
wouldn't it be a great job?
We saw at the AFCON that goalie with the notes wrapped around his water bottle for the penalties.
It is class. It is class. Now we've got to talk straight back into it. Everton, they lost against Man City, and that was extremely controversial.
Yeah,
VAR.
Big one.
Wow, there's not much you can say other than how ridiculous it is.
It was
a
awful.
Decision.
I was watching the game.
Will you text me as a game? I wasn't watching the game. I was driving back.
It's one of those that, like, as a neutral, it angers you because how can you get it so wrong? I just don't understand. It took you even real time. You're like, well, that's a penalty, and then one replay later takes 2 seconds. You're like, it's a Stonewall penalty. Like, there's no way it can't be a penalty. So I understand what the ref said. If he's behind it and he can't see it, he can't see it. There's nothing he can do. He can't give it. VAR have looked at it for 2 minutes, multiple angles, checked for offside. There's no offside. And it's not, we talk about VAR. It's not VAR that's the issue. It's the officials operating VAR. They're the problem. Because there is someone, I can't remember, I think it was Chris Kavanagh. He's looked at that image, that video clip, whatever it is, for 2 minutes, and he's seen him hit it. The ball hit him halfway down his arm, not on the sleeve, halfway down his arm. No one around him. He's controlled the ball, and he's decided to not even recommend the ref takes a look. That's cost Everton a chance at a point. Probably, let's say it cost him a point.
I think when you look at this game individually, this is the most. He couldn't have picked a more important fixture because it affects the top two. City got a win, potentially, or they gained 2 points because it could have been a draw on Liverpool, and the relegation battle. I completely agree with Lampard was
It's a disgrace. It is a disgrace, and someone should have to answer to it, but it won't happen. We've seen it time and time again. The inconsistency is
the only consistency, and I say that every time. That's my little phrase. It's a joke, and in any other profession, if you messed up like that on such a big scale, you'd get the sacking. You see it with managers, you see it with players. They mess up. I think it's time now. Referees, there needs to be an investigation with referees, and there should be some sackings. Because the crop right now of the referees in the Premier League is awful.
And like we've had a lot of the same refs for so long. Look at Mike Dean, John Moss. Like they're not getting any better. They're getting worse. In fact, with their age, like even Oliver recently, I think some of the stuff he's.
Yeah, but the thing is, we can go through individual referees and say they're poor, but there needs to be clarity with decisions. And I think referees, if they make a decision like that or VAR, obviously we need to hear the audio of them in VAR, what they're discussing.
That would be massive.
That will never happen because you see it in rugby and it works really well when you hear the referees talking.
So why wouldn't they do it for football?
They don't.
It's because they don't want the referees to have like stick or eyes on them to have responsibility.
But then when they make the bold decisions in huge games, which the money involved in these games, and it's not about the money, but I'm saying the money involved
it all matters,
game,
doesn't it?
It does matter. The severity of this fixture itself was huge when you put it into perspective like that.
I felt really sorry for Everton because even before that, obviously, Michael Keane's made a mistake to give the goal away, but Everton's performance was really good. They frustrated City. They pressed and harried them high up the pitch
throughout the game. Energy.
They were really, really good, and they deserved a point, like fully deserved a point, and they were robbed of that through something out of their control. It's disappointing. Even as a neutral, I dread to think how Lampard and the players and the fans feel. Yeah. But at least they've got the performance against the best team in the country.
Which is great, but a performance
it doesn't mean anything, does it?
At the end, in the grand scheme of things, it means nothing. And I completely agree. I watched that match the day after you told me. Well, I went to Twitter straight away first, which is obviously always a great source of football news, and the stills of it were bad, and I thought, okay, you can't just judge it on a still. Let me watch it in real time, and it was horrendous.
It's not even like where they've tried to say the sleeves involved. It's literally he's controlled it on his forearm.
Yeah, but the thing is, the
handballs are so inconsistent as well.
That's the thing. It's so subjective now. Well, no, it shouldn't even be subjective, but every referee or every person who's in VAR, it seems to be, they're using these tools and it's making every single decision more subjective because it depends on how lenient a ref is. And that's the problem with me. And we always discuss, I always see people on the radio saying we should get ex-pros in there. To be honest, I take anything over what's going on at the moment. Yeah. They're not using the tools of VAR.
There's nothing wrong with.
Should work.
There's nothing wrong with
and you can see it works. You saw it in the World Cup. You see it in the Euros. You saw it in AFCON. Sorry, let's not discuss AFCON. But in the big tournaments, it works. It's worked in the Champions League and things like that. Why can't it work in the Prem?
In the biggest league in the world, with the most viewers in the world out of any football league, yet we still can't get it right.
It's embarrassing.
It is.
It's awful.
The money that goes into it, the TV rights. And it's awful when you're in the stadium as well. You have no idea what's going on. And it's so delayed. You just stood there watching the screen. The players don't know what's going on.
That's why you want to be in the Championship, mate. Well, even then, they're discussing they're going to have a watered-down version of VAR in the Championship. That's happening. To be honest, that is the best thing about being in the Championship. You score a goal, you celebrate. You look at the line, done, goal, celebrate. It's a simple. You don't get that very often at the Albion, but when you see a goal, that's the good thing. And there's no VAR. Obviously, there's sometimes a couple of clangers that ref drops or line overs about 4 yards offside, but you should allow it in football. You get over it.
Yeah. If you weren't scrutinising it, then it's been and gone, isn't it? You can't change it.
And then when I watch those moments where obviously I'm never going to fall out with this game. I'm never going to stop loving football. But in those moments, it
angers you a bit, doesn't it?
I was livid, and I wasn't even watching the game live.
Yeah, I was.
I can only imagine how you felt. It is awful, but we could discuss it all day. So let's just move on because we will both just start getting angry. Because you can discuss VAR and the problems with it until I'm blue in the face. I don't know about you, because it is just appalling. We've not seen any improvement since it started. To be honest,
I think we have gradually,
but I feel
like the offsides has improved.
But to be honest, that couldn't have got any worse. They really
exactly.
But then you see it's because now we obviously don't see as you always say to me, we don't see the lines.
If you didn't know, if you're watching on telly and they draw the lines, they're not what the VAR booth. They're not the same pictures the VAR booths are looking at. They're TV cameras.
Which I'm going to openly admit, I didn't realise that.
Yeah, so they're looking at a different image, basically.
Which makes sense, because I look at some of them, like that Lukaku one, you look at it and you're like, I don't know if it's me and my glasses or something. I'm looking at it just like, what?
Yeah, I think the offside could be so simplified. If you just did where your foot is, if you're leaning offside, give the benefit of the doubt to the attacker. If you're just do it based on the furthest point of your foot.
Well, but then it all comes back to, and I've read a study on this. When does the ball? So when you look at the line, when is it? Is it when the ball leaves the foot and the frames to get it precise? Like you could, I know it's ridiculous. We could really go into it, but the whole thing, when you think about it, really, it's never going to be exact.
No, there'll always be someone with a better way.
So I think like what they do. I watched the MLS a couple of times. You know me. I've watched some bizarre games. I watched an MLS game.
Never seen an MLS game in my life.
It was quite late on at night, and I was on my own for some reason.
In fact, I might have watched the New York Red Bulls when Henry was there once. that was it.
But I watched the game, and I don't know if it was a friendly or something, and they were discussing how they were testing. I don't know whether it is still in place. They were testing it. Looking with the naked eye. They go to VAR and they look and they glance with the naked eye for offside.
Okay.
So they don't put lines out and they say if it's clear and obvious.
Surely you could make a big mistake doing that.
No, but they stop the pause it, and if you can't see with the naked eye, if it's not clear and obvious, they give the benefit of the doubt to the attacker. And the majority of the time, if you're basically directly in line and they didn't think you gained that much of an advantage, they just allowed it on. Yeah. And obviously that will still come with problems. To be honest, no matter what.
Yeah, you're just going to go around in circles, aren't you?
Let's just move on, because I'm going to start. Okay, then Newcastle. We both said it. Up the Toon. They're staying up. I'm a converted. No, I said it. I'm a converted, but I didn't.
I'm not about this jumping on the bandwagon.
No, I openly said it, and I apologise. I didn't think at the time when they were taking over. I didn't know whether they were going to really risk it and go big, and they proved me wrong. And I'll hold my hands up because that was my only question with the whole situation. I said if they spend big, they can stay up, but I didn't think they would because it is a risk. They went for it. They've got Dan Ashworth in, who obviously did wonders at the Albion. He's done wonders at Brighton. He knows exactly what he's doing. They've got a clear transfer plan.
Yeah.
The signings they've made, they're playing some really good football. I think they're now 5 unbeaten now, which is a lot.
It's since the start of Jan. They're unbeaten now.
Yeah, so the longest run they've ever gone unbeaten since 2011, which is mental. How fast it's changed. Okay, then, so Newcastle, they're supposedly giving John Joe Shelby a contract extension. Sorry, that I read that this morning. But
shout out Shelby.
Yeah, he's got John Joe. Look at him go. He's doing bits. But okay, then, so looking now at Newcastle, they're on the up.
Yeah.
Summer now. I know we're jumping. One player, Newcastle. No, let's just say there's no restraint. One player you'd go for right now. I know who I'd go straight in for.
Greg, you tell me.
Bayern Munich. There's a lot of problems going on there. They've openly said they need to get rid of players.
Where are you going here?
Kingsley Coman. What? Why not?
I rate the optimism.
They could afford it.
But Kingsley Coman.
Well, they've openly said. Obviously, Newcastle. There's a history with French players.
This is the player who's won like every trophy where he's ever been.
And now he's going to win it with Newcastle. They've openly said Bayern Munich need to get rid of players because they can't afford everyone on the wage bill. They have to with restraints. Bayern Munich got a lot of players up for sale. They've literally openly said that. Newcastle have.
I don't think they'd be open to letting him go ahead of others. I think Gnabry'd probably be the first.
It's a bold shout, but you've got it. Like I said, with no restraints, just go for it.
Okay.
They can test the water. Like that Bruno. I know Guimaraes. They beat a lot of big clubs to sign, and they showed their buying power instantly. They'll get Botman in the summer.
Yeah,
that's
we like Botman.
We're a big fan of Botman. We went and scouted him.
Very good Botman.
We went to watch Lille PSG, and he was awesome. They conceded 4. No.
Yeah, it's a good advert for Botman, isn't it? They conceded 4.
He was still very good. He did score though.
Yeah, he scored.
Great volley, but he looks class, and he's openly said he wants Newcastle.
Yeah,
I think he wants the cash basically, by the sounds of it.
Who wouldn't?
To be honest, yeah. Trippier, they don't need a right back. Okay, then now Kingsley Coman is my bold one. If I want to be like a realistic signing,
yeah,
I would go in, compete with Liverpool, and go for Carvalho, Fulham winger, who Liverpool went for in the January transfer window. Free agent, the Fulham winger, the youngster.
I don't know who this is.
Championship.
I thought you were talking about like Ivan Cavallero. No. So why would they want him?
No, Cavallero.
Carvalho.
Did I say Cavallero?
No, you said Carvalho. I just went to Cavallero.
Oh, I panicked then. Carvalho. Oh, you made me doubt with Carvalho. Oh my God, I can't speak now. Fabio Carvalho. I'm gonna have to go. Why have you made me doubt myself? I need to stick with this, even though I know who the player is. I can't say the name.
I think they're big signing. They've got a lot of good players like St. Maxima, Trippier, Dan Burn. I think they need a playmaker to link it all together.
That's what I'm going for. I
don't know who he is.
Why am I
Carvalho.
That's what I was trying to say. Why did you throw me off? Fabio Carvalho played at Fulham this year. He's been linked with Bayern Munich, Real Madrid. He went and had his to do his he did all of his tests and things at Liverpool. They didn't agree on a fee in the end. Supposedly, Liverpool are going to sign him in the summer. Go in for him. He's been absolutely amazing. 19-year-old, tearing it up in the Championship. Exciting youth player. Why not? Go for somebody for the future. Make a statement. That's showing to the other clubs, we're here for the long run. I would, if I was them, I'd go for Fabio Carvalho.
Okay.
Bold shout. You can go for yours now. There's my two.
Mine probably aren't as bold, but I think Lingard would be a good sign, a goodish signing for them.
I think Lingard.
But again, I don't know if he fits the template of what they're buying. Obviously, Trippier's a bit older, but the rest of them,
and the system, because they play a 4-3-3, and you're not going to be able to shift Joe Linton.
I could upset some people here, but
I did go for it.
There's been rumours about Yuri Tielemans' happiness at Leicester, and if you were Newcastle, why wouldn't you put a cheeky 30?
Isn't his contract up this summer?
I think it might be next summer.
Is it next summer?
But I think Newcastle will probably offer to double if not triple his wages.
Easily.
All of a sudden, it's very enticing for him. Leicester are going backwards. I think it would be quite easy to jump ship, and I think he'd be a brilliant addition into that midfield.
Yeah, I completely agree. His contract's up next summer. That could be a great sign. Get him at reduced fee, as you said.
Yeah.
Well, they'd still pay a lot, to be honest. They've got no restraints. That's the thing. I think that's a really good idea. Could you imagine? But then who would he replace?
That's what we've got. Tielemans. Obviously, Shelvey's got to be starting.
Shelvey, Joe Linton, or Joe Willock. JJJ.
Joe Willock's started to look better now.
Honestly, that three midfield is, but then there's no depth. Look,
Yeah.
if they're injured, I don't know who's coming in. So I think that's probably a sensible shout.
Tielemans is my shout.
That's probably more a realistic shout than mine.
Kingsley Coman.
It's a
Why not sign
shout.
Lewandowski while they're at it?
Yeah, but you get where I'm coming from. If the financial difficulties now,
try
go
to
in.
put a
Big
cheeky
statement.
one in.
It, like when City went for Robinho and they blew everyone out the water, and everyone was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, but Robinho wasn't playing at the highest level at that time.
No, but
he
they
was
threw a
he
lot
was
of
he was a
cash.
big name.
Kingsley Coman is a big name and a big player, so
But
it's probably a
Kingsley Coman's very good.
He's Well, it could happen.
Well, let's wait and see.
Trippier shocked me, so I'm changing all my ways and thinking I'm going big, I'm going bold. It's probably too bold, but it's a good shout anyway. So okay then. So now then, somebody's asked me to do this. This is an idea from you guys. Keep these coming in, by the way. Comment them on TikTok, drop me a message on Instagram, YouTube, whatever. We do listen to you guys, and this was sent in by somebody to say, discuss players that deserve to get an England call-up. Play outsiders. So who would you squeeze in to that England squad? We don't need to discuss who to replace. If you could just add an extra player in, who's your outsider? Somebody that excites you, because there's quite a few names that could be mentioned, like Livramento, Lamptey, Kyle Walker-Peters. Those are all wing backs. You've got Kilman,
Kilman,
Tomori.
I think.
Lots of players. So who is it then? Sorry.
I think I'd go for Kilman as that left-footed centre half to replace Mings. We've done enough discussing about
Kilman's
that.
a great player.
I think, even if it's just for a friendly and stuff, I think he deserves that chance to step up to that next level, because his play for Wolves this year has been brilliant. I know it's only one season. He was a bit inconsistent last season. He just needs to keep developing, but he's so young for a centre half as well. 25? He's still got a lot of time ahead of him.
Okay, then how about another left-footed centre-back for England, Dan Burn? Do you think he could have an outside shout?
His performances have been really good. I don't think he'll ever get called up for England, but
I doubt as well. He's not he doesn't screen the most.
You look at the impact he's had, as we said last week, the impact he's had at Newcastle. They've instantly just shored up the defence alongside Target and Trippier.
So really, but obviously, who he'd replace, that's another discussion. I
He
don't
won't
think
get
he
called
wouldn't
up for
make
England.
and it doesn't help that who he plays for, because obviously, if you play for a bigger club, it does help.
Yeah.
Like we've seen that in recent years when Grealish couldn't get into the side, then he moved to City and he got straight into the side.
Yeah.
That's the only problem.
My biggest wish for England, it's not like someone who's outside of the squad. I just want to see Bellingham starting every game, because obviously Calvin Phillips been out with injuries now. Calvin Phillips and Rice were brilliant at the Euros together. That partnership was fantastic. It worked perfectly. But now Calvin Phillips he's been out injured. He's not playing in a good team. They're struggling. He's been out for most of the season, really, hasn't he? So I want to see Bellingham playing near enough every game for England, because I think he has the potential to be one of the best midfielders in the world.
Easily. And if you watch that game against Rangers, I watched both legs for that Rangers Dortmund
I haven't
game.
seen them. I haven't seen much.
He
Dortmund.
literally carried that side. Honestly, he was the only the bright spark. I think he got across the two games. He got 2 goals and 2 assists across the 2 legs, and he's playing centre
from
midfield.
Yeah.
And he was shouting at players like Marco Reus, Nico Schulz from left back. He was ordering everyone around. You'd have thought the way he was playing that he'd got 10 years experience. There was no weight on his shoulders. He was just literally just. He was. I don't know how to describe him.
He's everywhere, isn't he? Yeah, he's so fluid, but then he covers so much ground, and like he does everything. He defends, he tackles, he starts counter-attacks, he gets into the box.
Yeah, and he's finally added those goals and assists.
Yeah.
It's that one thing, that question mark when you look at other centre
mids. But I wouldn't even expect that from his game, because he is like a box-to-box midfielder. He's covering the whole pitch. So I wouldn't even expect goals. But the fact that he does have that in his game, he's looking like a Gerrard type player.
And the thing is, Declan Rice has been doing the same. He's been adding goals and assists to his game. Those two together, progressing with the ball in midfield.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? The Euros will be coming home. It's not the Euros, it's the World Cup. The World Cup.
I think it's a bit soon.
I think it's a bit soon. We'll be discussing so much of that when we get closer to that.
World Cup content.
World Cup content. I'm absolutely buzzing for it. It's gonna be weird watching it.
Winter, yeah.
We've discussed this before. This wasn't even planned, but we can discuss it. How weird. I'm not sure if I can get behind it at the moment. Obviously, I'm gonna have to, but
no,
it's just a bit odd.
When you think of England and in major tournaments, you think of
Sunglasses.
Pub got
rolled up my sleeves. Sunglasses.
Beer garden. Sat outside watching some very faint TV because it's too bright.
And could you imagine, like, if someone lobbed a pint
t-shirt
in the middle of December, you'd turn around and say, mate, I'm absolutely blooming freezing while you're lobbing your Carlin over the back of my head. It'd be absolutely freezing. You'd be shivering watching outside. It's going to be odd. Obviously, it's going to happen, so we can't really say, like, I can't get behind it. It's just going to be interesting. I'm excited, though. It doesn't feel like it's coming around, does it?
No, because it's a winter. It's completely alien to us.
Yeah, it's less than a year away now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like it. We'll be counting the days. I probably should start counting them down. I probably should put it in my phone, do one of the counters. But no, it's going to be interesting. Bold shout. England going to win it? No. I don't think
No,
so.
we're not.
I like being one of those really pessimistic fans that before every tournament...
Yeah, because then if you actually do well, it's like added bonus.
So I said before the Euros in the summer, I kept saying that. No chance. And I kept saying, no, absolutely no chance. Deep down, I believed it was happening. But then at the end, at least I was like, I told you so. Well, really, I knew deep down I wanted it to happen. We all want it to happen. And hopefully it can happen again in the winter. It just doesn't feel right, does it?
No.
It doesn't sit right with me. It's going to be interesting. Maybe it's still going to be so hot though there. Which we always do awful in
They're going to have to have breaks, aren't they? And like all sorts.
Yeah. It's going to... I don't know.
We'll see.
There's not much we can say, really.
We'll come on to the World Cup.
Well, I'm buzzing for that when we eventually do get round to it. Quick fire predictions for the next round. Match day 28. Leicester Leeds. Who are we back in?
Leicester.
Two sides that have been really poor.
Yeah. Leicester look awful, don't they?
But then Leeds will have a new manager by then. Well, he's already been announced. They've said
he'll have like almost a full week in training.
Full week. He's just waiting on international clearance. But by the time...
I'll change and I'll go draw.
Do you know what? I'm going to get back the Leeds. I'm going to go Leeds win here. Away win. It's going to be a big score. A big statement to the rest. Then Burnley, Chelsea.
Chelsea.
I'm going to go for a draw. And I think I've looked at Burnley's record against Chelsea. It's actually
reasonable.
Not horrific.
Okay.
But they really struggle. They always concede one, I think. I remember looking into this before. Aston Villa, Southampton.
I'm going to go Southampton.
Big. To be honest, I've been watching a lot of Southampton.
Villa are poor at home.
Yeah.
Very poor.
Obviously, they got the result against Brighton. And Southampton, can anyone stop them? The way they've been playing recently. Romeu is tearing
I like Romeu.
I love him. He's got everything you want in the centre.
Yeah.
He's hard, but then he's got that ability to just turn a man with ease. He just shrugs. He just literally just brushes the shoulder.
Never complicates things either, does he?
He's
just
so good to watch. And that goal he scored against Norwich.
I haven't seen it.
The volley. Watch it.
No.
It reminds me a bit of myself. The volley's just utter filth. Norwich, Brentford. That.
What an awful game.
That is a big one for both sides.
I'm going to go Norwich.
I was about to say, I'd go Norwich as well.
Brentford are in the mud.
Brentford are really struggling in the mud. After that Ivan Toney video came out, when he said what he said, they've been really mud. He's been poor. And
he hasn't played barely, has he?
Yeah. Sorry, he's been poor. Everyone's been poor since then. I think the run they've been on, it's like one. I think in the last 5 games, 1 draw, 4 losses.
Yeah, they're in
not
trouble.
Good enough. Newcastle, Brighton.
Brighton have been in a bit of a slump as well.
What happens when you lose Dan Burn? And Dan Burn's going to score, isn't he? I'm going to clip this up and we can come back to this and laugh when Dan Burn bags a header from a court. It's not going to happen. But
I need Chris Wood's first goal for my fantasy team. I've had him in for about 3 weeks.
It just hasn't happened.
But I reckon once he gets one, they'll soon follow.
Okay then, Liverpool, West Ham.
Liverpool.
To be honest, you always back Liverpool. I can't imagine they're
at Anfield as well. Yeah, definitely.
Wolves, Palace at Wolves.
Ooh,
that's a really difficult one. Wolves obviously have been on a bit of a poor run.
I'm going to go for a draw.
A draw.
I think Palace will take the lead. I don't know why I'm giving you that information.
I know, I like it.
There you go.
It's the unnecessary details, which if it comes off, you look like a genius. And if it doesn't come off, no one will ever see this. So it's fine.
But it will.
And then the thing is, though, the problem is with Wolves, they don't score. So whenever they go behind, I never back them to get a goal. I think Palace will get a win here. I like Palace, but I just I want to see more of Eze.
Yeah.
Not seeing much. There's something going on there.
It will be hard to get them all in, wouldn't it? If you've got Zaha, Elise, Edouard.
Eze doesn't get any minutes. Yeah. He's been fit now for months. Watford, Arsenal.
Got to be the Gooners. Come on,
I knew
boys.
what you said. So I'm going to back Watford for this. Just Watford, I'm going to go 3-0. Dennis hat-trick. No.
That's nice.
I think it's going to be a very dull game, and you're going to get a 1-0 win.
Love it. I love 1-0 wins. 1-0 to the Arsenal.
It doesn't happen very much for me.
There's the prediction.
And then the Manchester derby, Man City, Man United.
There's only one winner, isn't there? And it's not United.
No, I agree.
Stink.
No, it's going to be a big Man City win. And then the final game, they're obviously their double game week, but we're just going to go for the actual game week 28.
Right, yeah.
Tottenham, Everton. That's a horrible fixture if Everton play anything like they did against City, then they'll get a win. But then if Tottenham play like they did against Leeds, even though it's Leeds, they will get the win.
I'm going to back Everton just because why not? Because why not?
I think it'll be a draw. But there you go. There's our prediction. Thanks for listening, guys. I don't think there's anything else we need to add on.
No, we're all done.
Let us know who's got the better shirt as well, actually. I feel like you'll win on this because there is quite a big Arsenal following on this page.
Shout out the Gooners.
Exactly, yeah. Shout out to them and shout out to the Baggies fans who are probably crying just like I will be after this video. But thank you guys for listening and watching, whatever platform you're on. Thank you. Leave us a review. And as I say, in every week, go check Mike's football shirt shop out, box to box shirt. The link will be in the description. Go follow him on Instagram. Go check out his shirts. He has got some really nice shirts, and they're not all Arsenal ones.
No, there's a bit of variety.
There is a bit of one behind here. Look at it. Gorgeous. Utter filth. Audio listeners, I just apologise. I've just realised I've just pointed it. You can't hear it. But thank you guys for listening and watching. Stay safe. Stay happy. Hopefully your team wins. And at the end of the day, remember, football is the winner. What an ending. BucketHatSam over and out, baby.